just fantastic watching all this old footage.
Marvellous.
Thanks, Kenny. So this is Remember When, and we're remembering VFL and AFL legends.
We are. We're looking at legends, and we're looking at Rick Milne on this particular occasion. Good evening, Rick.
Yes, hello, Bruce, and hello, John, yet again.
Yes, thank you, Rick.
Rick, it's very special to look through your eyes at football of the past and the present. What is collectible? What is nostalgic in the league?
Bruce, I reckon it's to each his own. Those who support particular clubs, that's all they see. And as a result, I suppose the more valuable things tend to be those from when the Bulldogs won it, because they've only won it once, and when the Saints won it, because they also only won it once.
What's the most...
Other sides have won lots and lots. Those two clubs remain very collectible.
Now, footy records, Rick in particular, what's a pristine footy record going back, 100 and whatever it is, 120 years, what would that be worth these days?
The very first one, which came out in 1912, they actually came out before 1912, but that was the first footy record.
Yeah.
The one that we've still got today.
Yep. And
can you believe... They actually, in the first one, they put an oval with the players in their position, just exactly as they do today.
Wow.
So that hasn't changed at all. If you hadn't won of number one, we've got to watch out, because they were actually given away free when the 100-year anniversary came up. They put that reprint into the footy record.
Right.
But if you did have an original, I would think probably $10,000.
Gee.
I think so, if you had an original. But that's the problem, because I'll get 15 phone calls tomorrow saying people, and I'll say, I've had them for years and years and years. Well, of course they have.
Yeah.
They're just the reprints.
On the way home from the ground, of course, you'd pick up the pink page, not the pink pages, the Sporting Globe at the newsagent with all the details of races and results.
They did, and I can remember going to the pictures. This is before TV came along, and the people would, of course, have their seats booked every Saturday night, and they would arrive early with the Sporting Globe and the Herald and sit in the cinema and read them.
Yeah, they'd love it.
I remember that as clear as a bell.
Alex Jesselenko's not flogging off, he's selling a lot of his memorabilia, but he said he can't find the jumper or the jumpers not on the block.
No, look, there are certain things that have just seemed to have disappeared. Nobody knows where they've gone. Well, lots of players in the earlier times used to, on the ground, actually trade their jumpers with the other opposition. In fact, when Darryl Baldock, as the captain of St Kilda, won it, he's actually pictured holding up the cup and he's wearing a Collingwood footy jumper, because he'd swapped it with his direct opponent. That's what people used to do. The earliest, in my opinion, one of the loveliest things, they don't do it anymore at all, is in the very early days, for the premiership players, they gave them a cap, a premiership cap.
Oh, how lovely.
And it looked almost like a schoolboy's cap. It was made of silk, and it had the VFL logo on the front, very beautifully done, and then the year, and they sell for some very fancy prices. If you could find those today, they're wonderful.
Yeah, these days, of course, they've got the sponsors logo on it, haven't they?
All over, that's right,
exactly.
all over everything, and of course that wasn't the way then, and believe it or not, a lot of the teams have their uniforms have not changed at all. I mean, Richmond's have not changed. No. Collingwood's have not. I mean, certain clubs are wearing exactly what they were, but the amazing change was when St Kilda, prior to the First World War, wore the colours, the German colours. And when the war came, or soon after, they changed their colours to red, white and black.
Oh, really? That's
fascinating. In the earlier times, they had the colours of the Germans, so that wasn't a very... They moved it pretty quickly to change that.
Because your love of Fitzroy goes back many years, and of course that's the tinge of nostalgia whenever that team is mentioned.
It is. Yes, a little tear in the eye. Yep. I've got a bit of good memorabilia, though. I've got some interesting items. One is a football that was awarded to their captain by the opposition team, who at the time was Collingwood. South Melbourne, back in early 1900s. And believe it or not, the captain of the Fitzroy team he wasn't indigenous. He was a black player, but he was actually from West Indies.
Yep.
And he came here to Australia. He was one of the very first black, coloured players, we'll call it, who played, and he was the captain of the club. So, I've got that football. That's one of my prizes.
In closing and thanking you for tonight, what did you think of the grand final?
Well, that was pretty exciting, and I suppose if the Fremantle been able to kick a bit straighter, it could have been a bit closer, but I suppose really for the whole year Hawks were the best team.
And do you think it's turned into an ugly rugby-type maul, though, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I felt yesterday.
Because that's the way Fremantle plays it. They close the other team down, and it becomes, well, you know, it's not what you'd call pretty football. However, 110,000 people would say otherwise.
Yeah, that's very true.
100,000 people, that's how many went.
All right. Well, Rick, thank you very much for the memories.
You're very welcome.
It's very kind. Thanks so much.
Okay. Good on you, Rick.
Rick Milne on the history and paraphernalia, what it's worth today.
And, of course, Rick can be heard midnight to dawn with Andrew McLaren on
Friday morning. Another